Hello there, everybody. And with the Christmas season starting, I think it's about time to review a Christmas movie. And let's go back to the good old Home Alone franchise. So we reviewed all the Home Alone movies except 4 and 5. And I didn't feel like doing the fourth movie. I heard it was really bad, and there was a whole new cast of the original characters from the first two movies, and I just heard it's just no. But this movie, it's a guilty pleasure for me. I've been wanting to review this movie ever since I started reviewing the Home Alone movies. That being Home Alone, The Holiday Heist. So this came out on ABC Family. It's now freeform if you have cable. But back in the day, the good old days, we had ABC Family, and it would constantly play Christmas movies. And I have so much nostalgia from those good old days. I don't know why they changed it to freeform. I don't know what's better, but that's a whole different topic. But they decided to do a TV movie, and you can tell it's a TV movie. Another Home Alone movie. So when I first saw the poster for this movie, I was like, what is this movie? And then I finally saw it on TV randomly when I was a kid. And yeah, it's not good at all. It's not as good as like the first two movies. The third one I gave a chance, and I reviewed it, and yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it was nothing great. But this movie, like I said, it's a guilty pleasure. Like, I know it's not good, but there's some charm to it that I can say, because this movie has a 3 out of 10 on IMDb. So yeah, people did not like this movie, but it stars a whole new cast, just like in the third movie. But this time it has nothing to do with the McAllisters. It has nothing to do with Harry and Marv, just completely different people. And we got some celebrities in this movie, surprisingly a lot, just for a TV movie. Yeah, it stars, I don't know the cast that well, but we got Christian Marvin as Finn Baxter. We got Gillian Ferland as Alexa. We got Doug Murphy as Chris as Baxter. And Ellie Harvis as Catherine Baxter. They're basically the family of this movie. Finn is basically a kid who is obsessed with video games. I don't even think he's playing Call of Duty, or even Fortnite before Fortnite existed. But Alexis, his sister, is like just obsessed with her phone. So they're basically typical kids today, and it's very like a reflection of how kids are today, because most parents from their generation, they didn't have cell phones, but these kids are like really just into technology. Just like all the kids, my generation, current generation is into just playing video games and being on our phones. So, but they're moving into a new house because the mom's got a new job. But the kids don't really want to move in. They don't really care for the house. They try to unload, but Finn has a thing for ghosts. Like, this becomes the theme throughout this whole movie. He's trying to find a way to get the ghost that's in this house, even though there's no ghost at all. But there's actually a secret to the house, which I'll get to in a bit. But what makes the house super valuable is because there's a painting that is hidden in the house, and a group of thieves are trying to steal it. And this is where the celebrities come in. We got Malcolm McDowell as the main guy, criminal dude. We got Eddie Siphon from My Name is Earl playing Huge, and Debbie Mazar as Jessica. So I'm surprised they got that cast to play the villains, and surprisingly they're okay as the crooks. Like, they kind of just seem like the typical greedy thieves who just want to steal some painting just for some money. But they actually give some character to the thieves. The one thief lady, she apparently has this long-lost boyfriend she's trying to get back together with, but he keeps rejecting her. But she just mentions him, even though this ain't really a storyline. But The kids really just don't like being in this new house. Finn tries to come up with various traps because apparently kids come up with traps today, and apparently not, but he tries to catch the ghost, but he ends up catching his dad, and he actually tases him, which is wild. But it makes the mom mad, of course. Even the sister annoyed, because she's like super grumpy throughout this whole movie, just complaining nonstop. But the kids try to do something Christmassy. The parents try to make them go out for a Christmas tree. And they actually somewhat have a good time. But Finn ended up placing a ghost trap. And this leads to the criminals actually sneaking into the house. And they're actually able to almost find the painting until they have to leave. And the main old dude who's the main thief, he accidentally hits his leg. And he actually breaks his ankle, and he is forced to wear a boot. And it just looks something like Iron Man would wear, but like a cheap way. But just a lot of wild stuff is happening. But the parents have to go to some Christmas party for the mom's job. But of course, the kids don't want to go, and they're still playing their games and still playing on the phone, but the mom just gets angry, and her rant's actually pretty wild. She just seems like a parent who just wants their kids to experience life than just being on the screen, which is like most parents today. But she ends up taking Finn's video game controller. She almost takes the phone away until the dad assures her that they need it for emergencies. But so the mom just gives it back to Alexa. But the two leave angrily, well, except for the dad. But the mom's still holding the game controller for some reason. I can't even tell what game it is. It looks like a GameCube or Xbox, like the very old Xbox. But Finn is just playing around in a house because he loves the idea of being home alone. I bet us kids back in the day, we loved being home alone, getting the privilege of getting home alone from our parents. But nowadays, it just feels like a regular day as you get older. But he starts messing around, and they kind of pay homage to other Home Alone scenes for some reason. Finn is like sliding down the stairs like Kevin would, and he uses this joke's kind of funny. He like uses like the powder thing that Kevin used in the movie, and he does the scream face like in the poster, and he doesn't react to it. And I think it's just kind of paying homage, saying that stuff doesn't make you scream out loud. But Alexia is just annoyed that Finn's just screwing around the house. Until when he knocks over the boxes, he finds a new game controller, and he's able to log back in. And this is where we get the sort of the old man and the old pigeon lady character, the wise character that is misinterpreted as being crazy, but it turns out they're just a nice person. But this time, it's a dude who just plays video games just like Finn. He's a dude who hangs out. I think his name is Simon. I forget who he's played by, but he's a dude. I guess you can say he lives on his own, but he can't. It becomes a side plot where he can't visit his family because he just doesn't have the money for it. But I wonder what he does. Does he have a job? He said he goes to college, but like, how is he paying for it? It's a nitpick, but I'm just wondering. But he meets Finn, and he apparently is beating him throughout the whole time they're playing this whatever game they're playing. But this is I guess you can say the connection moment. I don't know. I'm just not really feeling it between the characters. It's just, I don't know. I prefer the old man and the pigeon lady. Those mentor characters I appreciate a lot because they were actually able to help Kevin escape from the burglars. But in this movie, I'll get to this for a bit for the character, which becomes a huge issue I have with the movie. But during this, the parents are at this Christmas party, and the guy who's hosting it is Ed Asner. Surprisingly, he's in this movie for some reason. He's just randomly in it. This is way before he passed away. Rest in peace. But he's giving a speech, and he's about to give it to Finn's mom, but it gets interrupted when she starts to worry about her kids, and because they stopped answering the phone because Finn accidentally drops a battery, in the basement, and this becomes a huge plot point. I forgot to also mention, after the burglars escape, they actually notice that the trap door Finn placed was ripped off, and they think that's creepy. And then the dad tries to check down in the basement, but there's this sign that says "Deadlight is watching." I don't even know what that means, but it scares Finn because he fears that there's a ghost in this house, even though there's not. But once they go down into the basement, Alexia and Finn discover that the basement has a secret door, just like the Batcave. But they open it, and it's revealed to be a hidden room, and that's where the painting is. And there's a bunch of old beer bottles for some reason. But Alexia tries to scare Finn as a joke, and then Finn just runs upstairs scared, and then she's like, "It was a joke," and then she scapegoats out of this situation by accidentally pressing one of the buttons, the levers for the door, and she accidentally gets trapped in this secret room. But this is where it becomes the big plot point. The burglars are deciding to go to the house because they know the parents are going to be gone. But Finn, after a while, he plays the game, and then when he tries to just randomly get out of the bed, he figures out that Alexia is trapped in the basement, and he decides to go find out some stuff, some supplies. And there's also, I forgot to also mention, there's this other side character. She's like a little girl who's obsessed with snow. She just builds snow anything. And she tries to get Finn to hang out with her, but he has to reject every time. But he ends up going to a small supermarket, and he just buys as many random things as possible, and the cashier charges him like thousands of dollars. I'm like, what? There's no way he's gonna pay for that. But he only has a few coins, and he's for some reason able to get a yarn or something, and then he bumps into the criminals, and this is where he does find out that the criminals are planning to break into the house. And so Finn has to come up with various traps to protect the house. And for some reason, they're trying to make him like Kevin McAllister, but it just doesn't work in my opinion. But he builds the traps. He drops hot water on the floor like in the other movies. He puts marbles in the garage door, and he keeps it locked. And for some reason, he drops wrapping paper as a trap. He just uses gingerbread men and puts some stuff in it. It's wild. But when the criminals do show up, the movie kind of just becomes comical, where the one dude with the mustache dude, who's in My Name is Earl, his character, he ends up opening the garage, and we get, for some reason, probably the most hilarious trap scene where a bunch of pinballs are like attacking him, and he's like screaming like, "Oh my god." And then for some reason, it's not even really touching him. It's like going around him, and it creates like a giant, like, I don't know, snow angel around him, but in the garage form. And then the main lady, she tries to get through the house, but she ends up getting smashed by a window door, and she ends up just getting super cold to death. But the main old dude, he is trying to get into the house. But this is where Finn takes advantage of this ghost subplot, where he tries to make the house haunted. He uses a voice modulator. He uses like his TV to his radar thing he tried to use earlier for one of his traps, and he's just using a bunch of random stuff saying, "I am real." And it's actually funny that the old person actually believes that the house is haunted. But he ends up getting hit by a bunch of wrapping paper when he tries to leave the room. And this is probably the most wild scene, where Finn actually pushes the old man down the stairs, and actually looks painful to fall down these stairs. But the two criminals manage to get out of their injuries, and they try to chase the kid. But Finn ends up jumping out the window, but of course he's grabbed. Even though during all of this, Alexia is trapped in this secret room. And this movie doesn't really feel like Home Alone because the two are basically with each other, so they're not really home alone. But I guess it's Home Alone since there's no parents. But Alexia is just hanging out in this basement, and she makes a joke earlier in the movie about war and peace. But she finds War and Peace in this basement, and she just says, "You got to be kidding me!" And then she actually starts to read the book. Actually, it just shows that this generation could read more. But anyway, Finn gets captured. He gets thrown into the van. It's actually creepy that they're doing that because Harry and Marv, they actually threaten Kevin with a gun. But in this movie, they throw the kid in a van. The kidnapping scenario. But Finn is basically saved by the snow girl when the main lady's watching him, making sure he doesn't get out while the others are trying to find the painting in the basement. But of course, the snow girl is able to throw as many snowballs at the main lady. I forgot to also mention Finn and actually told his gamer friend that since the criminals are actually trying to break into the house, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, you're actually a kid and they're actually going to do this?" And then he actually tries to call the parents, and this becomes my big issue with the character. He ends up calling the parents, and it ends up making the mom freak out and the dad after they leave the party. And she says, "I'm going to end you." And she actually calls the cops, and they actually go to his apartment. And for some reason, he's still gaming, even though he knows two kids are endangered. The brother and the sister. But yeah, he kind of deserves getting squatted by a bunch of cops. But of course, they pull out their guns, and just like Catch a Predator, they end up pepper spraying him, which was funny. But yeah, the kid is able to... Finn is basically able to escape because of the snow girl. She ends up throwing a bunch of snowballs at the girl, the main villain girl. And she actually gets a call from the Steve guy, and they actually show a photo of what he looks like, and he actually answers. But of course, it gets interrupted by the snow girl, and she gets hit by so many snowballs. Finn is able to escape, but of course, he has to find a diversion for the other criminals. But the criminals end up sneaking into the house, and they end up sneaking into the basement. And this is where we get one of the more wild lines of this movie. The main old dude threatens Alexia by saying a painting can be ripped in half, but says none can be same for little girls. And yeah, that's definitely a wild line, especially for this movie. But Alexia is able to have Finn cause another trap, causing the basement door to close again. But Alexia is actually able to escape this time, and we actually do get a nice brother-sister bonding moment, since throughout this whole movie they're just fighting like typical older sister and younger brother, and they actually hug, which was nice. But the criminals are trapped in there, and then the cops finally show up. This is probably one of the more funnier scenes of the movie. The criminals didn't fall for the hot water ice, but the cops fought for it, and they actually fall on the ice, which was funny. But the parents reunite with their kids, and they're all happy. And the main lady, she actually, for some reason, the snow girl is actually able to turn her into a snowman. I don't know how she did that all in a few seconds throughout the movie. But the criminals are arrested, and the family's happy. They have their Christmas, and yeah, we get a little arc with Finn. He goes from playing games, and his friend, he's able to actually get money to go see his family, which I guess was nice, but it's not, we don't really feel much character with him. But the mom says sorry that she had a squad team come for him. But yeah, he kind of deserved it. But yeah, Finn is able to work things out, of course, and he actually gets a Christmas gifts. They actually celebrate Christmas, but of course they get an award for it. But for some reason, the cops give them an award just for having the painting, because they actually, examiners take the painting, and they get a trip to the museum, and Alexia's like, "What? that's nothing. But I would agree with that. But of course, because they help catch the criminals, because they've been wanted in other states, they actually get $30,000, which was nice. But the movie ends with Finn getting a snowboard for Christmas, and he actually goes outside with the snow girl, and they actually go snowboarding, and the family records a nice family memory. Yeah, and the movie just randomly ends. Like, they don't really have an ending. It just ends with the criminals getting their mug shots, and I like how the cop just says, "Don't smile," and then the movie just ends. And it randomly shows clips of the movie in the credits for some reason. It's just a random nitpick, but yeah, that's Home Alone 5. So yeah, this movie is not a great. It's not like Home Alone 1 and 2. You can tell this movie is a TV movie. It's because of how low the budget is, and surprisingly, they have a good amount of celebrities in this movie. We got Ed Asner, who makes a cameo in this movie, and we got a bunch of others, which, if you're familiar with your actor lore. But the main family, I just didn't really feel their chemistry. They just kind of seem like a typical family from today's society where they're obsessed with their phones and the parents are kind of just wanting their kids to get out of the house. But Finn's like obsessed with Ghost, even though there's no ghost in this movie at all. And the criminals, they were okay. Like, there's pointless subplots for the characters. Like, they're trying to give character to the criminals, even though we don't really care. We just want to see them get brutally hurt by traps, just like in the first two Home Alone movies. It just doesn't have the charm of the first two movies. That's why I love watching the first two movies. Honestly, if I had to pick a Christmas movie, it would definitely be Home Alone. I don't know why I'm obsessed with Home Alone. I just love the first two movies. But they're definitely classics. This one's definitely not a classic, but it's a guilty pleasure for me. I don't know why I have a fixation on this movie. Maybe because it's a little more modern than other Home Alone movies. It's definitely better than Home Alone 6, but it's definitely not top of the list. It's definitely better than Home Alone 4, since I've seen a little bit of it, and it was not good. But I didn't feel like reviewing Home Alone 4. Maybe I'll review it next Christmas if I feel like it, but I don't know what the next review is going to be. I'll probably give this movie just a 6 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. It's just a fine waste of time Christmas movie to watch. Like, I don't mind watching it throughout the years, but yeah, I'll definitely, it just makes me want to watch Home Alone 1 and 2. It has an okay cast. It has some good trap scenes, but of course, there's so many other good Christmas movies out there, which I definitely want to review. I think I'm going to pick a real good Christmas movie this year for next review. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.